Hello, my little dumplings. I can't wait to see who is going to read with us tonight. I will give a little recap or summarization of what we read last night. And for those of you that had been paying attention, we read about Kalik and Takik, who were on the ice with their mother. Hi, Abby. Glad you're here. And we found out that their mother died, but not just that their mother had died, but that Takik and Kalik had been separated from each other. And they're just young cubs. I'm really kind of scared for them. So tonight we're going to read about Lusa. And if you'll remember, Lusa is in the Bear Bowl, the zoo. Okay. Hi, Noah. All right. So, Noah, we were just talking about, I know, Abby, it was sad. We were just talking about how Takik and Kalik's mother had died in the last chapter we read, and that the two of them had been separated. And, I was just thinking, too, not just separated, but separated on ice. They're still out in the ice. Who knows if they'll make it to land. Tonight, we're reading about Lusa. It just has a footprint. I wish they had more pictures, don't you? Here we go. Chapter 5. Bet you can't get up this high, Yogi challenged, scrambling to the next branch. I can too, Lusa retorted, digging in her claws and pulling herself up with her forelegs. Yogi was quite a bit bigger than her, but Lusa was determined to prove she could climb as far as he could. The sun shone through the leaf buds on the trees, casting green shadows on the bear cubs. Along the top of the wall, the usual crowd of flat faces was pointing and exclaiming, and the scent of strange food drifted over from them. Below her, Lusa could see King and Aisha snoozing in the shade. Every once in a while, King would blink, shake his head, and glare up at them as if he expected them to fall on his head. Yes, Abby, I'm sure you and your brother argue, but you probably would be pretty upset still to be separated from him, right? Determined. Did I just give you a vocabulary word that you're paying attention to? Good job, girl. A shower of bark splinters rained down on Lusa's shoulders as Yogi clambered higher. By the way, why don't we do something tonight that's a little different? I just read a shower of bark splinters rained down on Lusa's shoulders. Did the splinters from the tree really rain down on them, or is that just figurative language? So tonight, this book has a lot of figurative language in it. Yeah, you know, don't you, Noah? I want you to keep your ears open for some figurative language, and if you have any questions about what it means, you let me know. So, bark splinters rained down on Lusa's shoulders as Yogi clambered higher. I can see into the brown bear area from here, he called down to her. Ooh, I can see your favorite bear. I don't have a favorite grizzly, Lusa said. I don't like any grizzlies. They're too big and they're angry all the time. Especially Grumps, Yogi agreed, nodding his muzzle toward the old male grizzly who lived alone on the other side of the fence. The cubs had never talked to him, so they didn't know his real name, but they called him Grumps because, well, he was so old and grumpy. He's rolling on his back in the dirt. It looks pretty funny. Lusa wanted to see. She tried pressing her hooked back claws into the tree trunk and wrapping her front paws around the nearest branch. From there, she could swing herself up, but it took a lot of effort. She heard a loud grunt from the ground, but she was too focused on getting her back paws onto the branch to look down. Came the grunt again. Lusa peeked over her shoulder. Her father was standing on his back legs, reaching up the tree toward her. It's okay, I won't fall, she called. She tried even harder, grunting with effort, and managed to wrap all her paws around the branch. You'll never get to the top if you climb like that, King growled. You're going much too slowly. Well, I'm still learning, Lusa replied breathlessly. She lay on her belly on the branch, letting her paws hang down while she rested for a moment. Don't be so timid, he said. It's much easier if you climb the tree trunk in quick bounds. The splinters, and that reminds me, I got a splinter. You say effort a lot. I say effort a lot. Interesting. What about this word timid? Did you guys catch that word? Do you know what it means? Don't be so timid, he said. It's much easier if you climb the tree in quick bounds. Grab the trunk with your full forepaws and push yourself up with your hind legs, like you would if it was lying on the ground. Yes, I say effort a lot. Okay, well, I learned something new about myself tonight. Lucy thought it sounded more like a way to fall out of the tree, but this was her father talking. He only pawed out advice when it was something important. Are you sure it's safe? She couldn't help asking. Safe, King snorted. Black bears are the best climbers in the forest. You listen to me, Lusa. Black bears don't fall out of trees, not even puny cubs. He dropped back down to all fours and lumbered away, grumbling to himself, his ears twitching. Whole week kind of makes sense. You are reading, and we're learning about reading in class, but we did more reading than math. We did do more reading than math this week because we're taking the reading map test on Monday. But I haven't forgotten about math. I love math. Lusa looked up again, up to the top of the tree where the spindly branches waved against the cloud-dotted blue sky. Yogi had gotten bored and was climbing back down, scratching the trunk to look for insects on his way. Yum, insects. The best climbers in the forest, Lusa thought. We don't fall out of trees. Feeling bolder, she scrambled to her paws and reached up to hook her claws into the bark. Taking a deep breath, she pushed her back paws into the tree and shoved herself up in a quick, leaping bound. Hello, Christian. You're a fly, you're an insect. So I'm wondering right now, what do you kind of think about Lusa's personality? What kind of character traits does she have? Is she somebody you would like to hang out with? To her surprise, she landed almost a whole cub length up the tree. Excited, she tried that move again and then again, immediately after that, until she was racing up the tree. She didn't even stop when she got to the highest point Yogi had ever reached. She just kept on going, pushing herself higher and higher until she came to a branch and realized there were no branches above her. She had reached the very top of the tree. She is fun and safe. I think she's kind of, the way she always likes to kind of push herself. She's not afraid of King. I think she's kind of brave too. She likes adventure. What's gross, Abby? I'll get back with you. The very top. Lusa sat on the branch and wrapped her paws around the trunk, panting with exertion and delight. She was up so high. Below her, the other black bears were the size of caterpillars. Are they really the size of caterpillars? She could see over the wall and to the rest of the bowl, to the brown bears on one side and the white bears on the other. Your dog Rex is watching. I wonder what he'd think about Dublin. Let me try this. Rex. Hey, Rex. Hi, buddy. Exertion. Ooh, good question, Christian. I love you asking about vocabulary. Exertion means to put forth a bunch of effort. Who's meaning stupid? Okay, but she could also see beyond the bowl itself. There was a gray path winding around several enclosures, most of them surrounded by fences like hers. Not far away, she could see some small animals that looked a bit like flat faces, but furrier and more agile, with long swinging tails. Wonder who those are. Oh, hi, Ruben. She saw one holding onto a tree branch with only one arm, dangling in the air as if it could hold on forever. Well, I kind of want to hang out with her because she doesn't like sports. and I climb trees. So Ruben, since you just got here, we're with Lusa again, and she's in the zoo, which they call the Bear Bowl. And she just climbed her first tree to the top. Now she's seeing what's really out there. Farther along the path, she saw a large pool of water, more water than she'd ever seen in one place before. It made her wish she could leap into it and splash around. There were birds in the water, or at least she thought they must be birds, because they had wings folded by their sides. Although their legs were so long and skinny, they were probably taller than she was, standing on her hind legs. They were bright pink with hooked bills, and some of them looked like they were standing on one leg. Maybe those ones only had one leg. What kind of animal do you think it is? Any thoughts? Birds, long skinny legs, standing on one leg, kind of a pinkish color. Anyone? A roar that didn't sound bear-like drew her attention to an enclosure in another direction, where large gray boulders formed a cliffside dotted with trees and thick bushes. She had heard the roar before, but she'd never known what kind of animal it came from. Now she could see that on one of the large flat rocks, a four-legged animal was lying in the sun, flicking its long tail. It was golden colored, with jagged black stripes along its fur. And when it yawned, she could see teeth as sharp as a bear's. A spider, a worm, a crane. Now, Noah, we're talking. Okay. How about a flamingo? Have you ever heard of a flamingo? Okay. So who do you think this other terrifying roaring animal with golden colored and a jagged black stripe along its fur might be? So many strange creatures, and that was only what she could see from here. She could tell that the path continued on in each direction and that the sky reached farther than she'd ever imagined. She knew from the other bears' stories that there must be forests and mountains and other bears beyond the bowl walls, but she hadn't realized quite how many other kinds of animals were out there or how far the world reached. Lions, Noah? That's what I was thinking, Christian, as well. But it says a jagged black stripe along its fur. That one kind of threw me. So what's Lusa realizing right now? Lusa sniffed the wind for a moment, inhaling the wild mixture of unfamiliar scents. Then she scrambled back down the tree and ran over to Stella, trying to hold all the images inside of her head. Stella, she cried, clambering onto the older bear's back. Stella started awake with a grunt. Her fur was warm from the sunlight and had bits of grass in it from sleeping on the ground. Stella, quick, Lusa said. What kind of animal is sort of the color of the papaya fruit and has black stripes and big teeth and roars? And what kind of bird is tall and pink with skinny legs? And what kind of animal hangs from trees and has a squiggly tail like a worm but much longer? Are any of them like bears? Can they talk like bears? Have you ever met them? Whew, slow down, Stella grunted. She pawed at her ears and studied Lusa. So Lusa kind of talks like you, Christian. She goes really fast. And the whole time I'm just like, okay, well, slow down. Where did you see all this? Did you climb to the top of the bear tree? I did, Lusa exclaimed, capering in a circle. It was so high and so exciting. And what were those animals? Do you know? I know their names, Stella said. The striped cats are tigers. Ah, we were wrong, you guys. And the pink birds are flamingos. Flamingos? Lusa repeated, setting the word in her mind. And the little climbers, they're called monkeys. Ah, like you guys, little monkeys. Stella went on, but you should ask King about them if you want to know more. He lived in the wild, after all, and he may have met some of them out there. Lusa was intrigued. I'm a little intrigued about that word. Intrigued means interested. Stella loved telling stories, but for once she sounded like she thought King knew more than she did. Lusa's father was lapping up water from the small pool near the front wall, but he hung his head up as Lusa approached and studied her warily. kind of suspiciously. Hello, Father, Lucy said, nosing at his muzzle and scuffling her paws in the dirt. Did you see me climb? Wasn't I good? I said you would be, King said gruffly. He bent his head to the pool again. His long tongue flicked in and out as he drank. Will you tell me about what it's like out in the wild? Lucy asked. I saw all these strange animals from the top of the tree. Stella says they're called monkeys and tigers and flamingos. Did you ever meet any tigers or monkeys? No, King growled. There's nothing to tell. But don't you have any stories about living in the wild? No, I don't. He stepped back and started padding over to the mountains. Lucy followed along, trotting to stay at his heels. What about the big water? Did you find any water that big out there? Did you ever go into the water like the flamingos? Could you swim? King raised himself up on his hind legs and clawed the air. Black bears can swim like fish, climb like monkeys, and run like tigers. We are the kings of the forest. There is nothing that black bears can't do. He dropped back down to his paws and stood over Lucy, staring down so fiercely that she instinctively crouched lower. We'll go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Kristen, please stop saying it again. Okay. Listen, when you're making too many comments, it distracts from the reading. So let's try to keep our comments to what we're thinking about the book. Good job, Abby, for speaking up for yourself, girlfriend. All right, stop asking me questions about the wild, he growled. You'll never live there, so why go on and on about it? Leave me in peace. He leaped up onto the nearest boulder and sat with his back to her. Lucy backed away and slipped down the side of the mountains to the cave at the back. She huddled under the white stone ledge, feeling very confused. Did King hate it here? She'd never thought of the bowl as being small before, but suddenly it felt as tiny as their watering dishes. She wanted to know what lay beyond the walls, beyond the strange animals and the long fences and the gray paths. She wanted to see a real forest and some real mountains. What's happening to her, you guys? She got on the top of that tree and she saw that there's like a whole big world out there. Do you think she's going to still be happy living in the bear bowl? And why do you think King is so grumpy about talking to her about when he was in the forest? A cool black nose nudged her side, and Lucy looked around. Her mother, Aisha, pressed her muzzle to her daughter's head. Don't be sad, little blackberry, she said. I saw you climbing that tree earlier. You did very well. Don't mind King. I only wanted to know things, Lucy blurted out. I just asked about the tigers and the monkeys, and he growled at me. I know, Aisha said. He doesn't really like talking. Not like you. He said black bears are the kings of the forest, Lucy said. That's true, Aisha agreed. We're not brightly colored like tigers or flamingos, and we don't make a lot of noise like monkeys, so you might not know how important we are at first. But black bears are the best at being quiet and going unnoticed, and that's how King likes to stay. He's used to living on his own in the wild and fending for himself. He isn't so good at being friends with the other bears. Lucy is a girl, Noah, and I think you're right. I think she is kind of scared and confused. She's lived it. Well, what if you just lived inside of your home your whole life, and then all of a sudden you saw that there was an outdoors? Christian, I agree with you. I think she's going to want to get out there. I like being friends with other bears, Lucy said, leaning against her mother's leg. Well, that's all right because you're in here, Aisha said, swatting away a fly with one of her large paws. But if you were in the wild like he was, you would need to stay away from other bears to stay alive. Really? Lucy said. Do you want to see what it's like in the wild? Yes, Lucy gasped. Was there a way out of the bear bowl? Why hadn't she heard about it before? Follow me and keep quiet, Aisha instructed. She crept out of the cave and up the mountains into the forest. Lucy tried to put her paws exactly where her mother had put them, although her legs were much shorter, so it was difficult. She stayed low and kept quiet, watching her mother's fur shimmer brown and black in the sunlight. Stop, Aisha whispered, lifting her nose. Shh, here comes a big tiger. Lusa curled her lip. But we're still in the bear bowl. Not if you imagine we're in a deep, dark forest surrounded by wild creatures, her mother whispered back. Now, can you smell that tiger? She's going to want to get out. Oh, yeah. And that water is called a lake. Did they know that? No, Abby, I don't think they know. I think they're missing out on a lot of vocabulary. I don't want to hang out with anybody being mean to Lucy either, but it's her dad. By the way, for those of you that got here late, we're looking out for figurative language tonight too. Lusa copied her mother and sniffed the air. There was definitely something coming. It wasn't a tiger, though. It was Yogi. The two of them watched from the long grass as he ambled past them and went to scratch himself on the fence. Ambled. It's kind of... Lusa stifled a huff of laughter. Even if she pretended really hard, there was nothing fierce and scary about Yogi. She might get hurt, Reuben. Hi, Delilah. When she wants to go back out to the wild, because I don't want to be trapped in a cage. I know, Abby, I never really looked at it like that, probably until I read this book. Suddenly, there was a movement in the mountains. King was standing up to stretch. There's another bear, Aisha warned, up the tree. She leaped into the branches and swarmed up the trunk, with Lusa right behind her. Lusa saw that her mother climbed the way King had taught her, moving swiftly and in quick leaps. It was even easier the second time, especially with her mother ahead of her. This was a good game, pretending the bear bowl was really a forest. Lusa wondered if life in the wild was this exciting all the time. She perched on a branch beside her mother and looked down at the other bears in the bowl. Maybe King was wrong. Maybe one day she would get to see the world beyond the bowl. Maybe one day she really would live in the wild. Aluminum oxide, Reuben? I'm not sure what that means. Christian blurts out, and so does Haley. That makes me think of Lusa. Abby. Good connection, girl. Oh, wow. That was the end of the chapter, you guys. That was a quick chapter tonight. But the next one would take us another 30 minutes. So we are going to have to go ahead and finish with that chapter. Any questions you had tonight or comments? Can you predict what may happen next? Because you know every book would be boring if there wasn't a problem. So let's think about what may be happening. What do you mean another bear, Reuben? Oh, Hayden, I'm so sorry. You can replay it though. So Hayden, here's what happened. Let's summarize. Tonight we read about Lusa back in the bear bowl, and her father, King, taught her how to climb a tree really fast like black bears do. And that's when she got to see the entire zoo, and she realized how big the world was, and she was just stuck in this little bear bowl. And she's acting like she's curious about what would happen. Thank you, Delilah. What would happen if she was out of the bear bowl? So I'm asking you guys to make a prediction about. So we have basically 3 bears here, right? We have Kalik, we have Toklo, and we have Lusa. And so far, now we have Kalik and her brother Takik, who are now out in the world on their own, traveling. We have Toklo, who's still with his mother, and his brother Toby, he doesn't really care for, out in, traveling. And we have Lusa in the bear bowl, who wants to start traveling. I'm wondering what kind of predictions you can make, my little dumplings. Noah Edwards, stop it. You think they're going to meet up? What makes you think that? Have you read other books where they tell one person's story and then another person's story? Yes, Christian, the chapter's over. Sorry, buddy. You left for a second and there you go. Noah, are you typing to me? Us? Okay, here's another question I want to ask you too. Why Noah's thinking about why he thinks they're going to meet up. Oh, you've not read stories like that. Okay. I want to know, what point of view are these stories being told from? Let me go back. So Lusa, it begins with, bet you can't get up this high, Yogi challenged, scrambling to the next branch. I can too, Lisa retorted, digging in her claws. The sun shone through the leaf buds on the trees, casting green shadows. Every once in a while, King would blink, shake his head, and glare up at them. Who's telling this story? Is it first person? Third person? Whoa, Christian Brash. First person. Oh, Noah. Good point. Yes, Christian, I agree with you. It is first person. It's someone out there in the world, we don't know who it is, telling this story about them. And Noah, you're so smart because you're right. There they are all together. Now I'm wondering how they're going to meet up. Who's Aquarius? Hi, Mrs. Weekley. Hi, Aquarius. Who are you? First person. Latimer. Aquarius. Is that like your sun sign? All right, guys. I have to go to bed. Plus, they're doing the draft picks tonight. Is anybody watching? Hopefully, Kansas City doesn't get to pick tonight, but hopefully we get somebody good. Dublin knows it's time to go to bed, too. He wants to come over and tell you good night. Abby, if Rex is there, tell him to say hi to Dublin. Say hi, Dublin. Who's the boy? Who's the big boy? Go get your toy. Go get your toy. All right. Let's see. Did we ever find out who Aquarius was? Oh, Kennedy. Hey, Kennedy, I was going to text your mom tonight. I was wondering if you had started reading that book. Christian, are you asking me if I play baseball? I can barely walk down the hallway. Ooh, Abby's got some good questions. Why is she climbing the tree with them? Another bear didn't say there was another bear climb up the tree already. Why would she go up there? Oh, no. Okay, so Abby, it's not a man being mean. Her dad taught her how to climb the tree really quick. And her friend in there was named, what's his name? Her friend? He's another bear her age in there. I forgot his name. Does anybody remember? Stella's the bear that helps her. Oh, I know. It's at the very end of the chapter. Because Yogi. So her mom was just trying to help her get up the tree. There's no men in there. No peoples yet. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for reading with me. I'll miss you till tomorrow. See you guys then. Don't stay up too late.